The world will no longer come to an end, stated the Prophet Muhammad, till a man from my household, Ahlul Bayt, and of my title shall be grasp of the world. When you see a inexperienced ensign coming from the root of Khorasan, then be part of them, for the Imam of God will be with the requirements who will be referred to as al-Mahdi. The Mahdi will be descended from me. He will be a man with an open countenance and a face with an excessive nose. He will fill the earth with fairness and with justice, just as it has been crammed with tyranny and oppression. Bahar al-Anwar, Majlisi, Imam Muhammad Abul Qasim, al-Mahdi, as the closing in the line of the 12 Ithna Ashari Imams used to be born on 15th Shaban 255 Hijri in Samarra, Iraq. His father used to be the 11th Imam Hassan.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share and subscribe. Like it.
Hassan al-Askari, and his mom was once Nargis Khatun, granddaughter of the Emperor of Rum. It used to be 8th Rabiul Awwal 260 Hijri when our 12th Imam led the funeral prayer of his father Imam Hassan al-Askari, as he was once solely 5 years old, but the entire crowd of Muslims, which include the Abbasid caliph of that time al-Mu'tamid, observed the younger Imam accept question. Once the prayers have been over and the Imam went interior the house, that the caliph realized the full implication and magnitude of the event, and he right away ordered his troopers to enter the residence and search for the younger Imam. They did no longer discover anyone in the house. The caliph was once very indignant at this incompetence of ministers and different officers who have been unable to locate a boy of 5 who had simply led the prayers and had simply disappeared. The caliph had no inkling of the secrets and techniques that God did no longer favor to reveal. He returned to his palace and into the luxurious existence of a playboy king, whilst the world round him squeezed his empire into oblivion. The Imam's duration of lesser concealment commenced without delay after he led the funeral prayers and disappeared in the house. This used to be in the year 260 Hijri. The doctrine of ghaiba, or concealment, pronounces certainly that the Imam has been withdrawn by way of God from the eyes of people, that his lifestyles has been miraculously prolonged, that he has been considered from time to time, has been in correspondence with others, and has maintained a manage over the preparation of the followers and the believers and the protection of Islam from its enemies. In the following few pages we shall strive to deliver some proof from the Quran and the real hadith of the Prophet to show the factor to involved readers. This is an fundamental faith that Imam Muhammad al-Mahdi, as Sahib az-Zaman, is alive and guides his followers every time such want arises. This is based totally on the verses of the Holy Quran that categorical the thought of divine guidance through the prophets and imams. And amongst these whom we have created are humans who information others with truth, and in accordance therewith, act justly. 7 to 180. We shall take a look at you with something of concern and hunger, some loss in items or lives or the fruits of your toil, however provide satisfied tidings to these who patiently persevere. 2 to 155. A splendid Hanafi pupil Muhammad ibn Muslim cites Imam Jafar al-Sadiq as explaining the means of the above verse. Imam indicated that there would be symptoms indicating the coming reappearance of al-Mahdi, which are the capacity whereby God checks the faithful, something of fear, is a reference to loads perishing by way of contagious diseases. Hunger is a reference to excessive fees of foodstuffs. Some loss in goods is a reference to shortage and famines. Lives is a reference to mass destruction of human lives. Probable international wars. Fruits is a reference to prolonged durations of drafts. So, when all that happens, then provides satisfied tidings to these who patiently persevere. This is its interpretation, persisted the Imam, quoting verse 7 of Surah 3, which shows that only these who are firmly grounded in expertise are successful of deciphering the verses of the Holy Quran, adding, "We the Ahlul Bayt are the ones firmly grounded in knowledge." In the book, Yanabi al-Muwada, the Hanafi student and Mufti of Istanbul at some point of the Osmani Caliphate in Turkey, writes on web page 321, quoting Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, as decoding verse 83. Surah 3 of the Holy Quran feedback as follows: when the Qaim al-Mahdi reappears, there will be no land on earth, the place the kalima is no longer said. This may want to be a reference to the reality that via the time al-Mahdi reappears, all continents of the world will have Muslim populations. They already do now. After providing the above proofs from the Quran, the following are proper traditions from the Prophet of God involving Imam Mahdi, as at the quit of Volume 2 of Farari al-Simtain and on web page 269 Ibn Khaldun's Muqaddimah. It is associated from Ibn Abbas that the Holy Prophet said, "Ali is Imam of my state and my successor therein after me, and amongst his offspring is the awaited Qaim who shall fill the world with justice and fairness as it was once stuffed with injustice and oppression." The Prophet, in addition, elaborates, "Watch out of doubting, for to doubt the order of God, the mighty, the sublime, is apostasy." Kufa. Ibn Khaldun additionally states that, when imprisoned with his mom in the house, he entered a kind of propoly or pit in the residence that his household occupies at Samarra, Iraq, and there he disappeared. However, he is to come forth at the quit of the age to fill the earth with justice. Allama Jalaluddin Suyuti rates in his e-book Jalalul Oyan Volume 6. Web page 50. "The hour shall no longer come till al-Mahdi takes cost on earth on my behalf," stated the Messenger of God. Allama Sutu additionally fees Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal that well-known partner Abu Sa'id Qadri, quoting the Messenger of God saying, "I carry you happy tidings of al-Mahdi. God shall ship him to my nation, in a time distinct from your own, and after a collection of earthquakes, and he shall fill the earth with justice and fairness as it was once stuffed with injustice and oppression. He shall distribute the wealth equitably amongst the inhabitants of the earth, in the guide in which he units forth the many obligations and privileges of pilgrims." Majlisi has given an ordinary structure for a quick letter in Arabic, which everybody can write, and dispatched to his Imam of the age. It can also be positioned on the tomb of any of the Imams, or it can also be mounted and sealed, and blanketed with smooth earth and forged into the sea or river or a deep well. In any case, it will attain the hidden Imam and he will provide his private attention. There is a well-known pronouncing of Imam Hussein as about the 12th Imam. "The 9th of my descendants is the Imam who will upward thrust with the truth. God will provide lifestyles to earth via him after its death. The authentic trust will supersede all religions via him. His absence shall be prolonged, in the course of which many humans will go astray. Only a few will stay on the right path. They shall go through pains, human beings will put strain on them, saying, "Let us be aware of when this promise of the return of the Mahdi is fulfilled." Those who will endure the pains and denials patiently will get the identical rewards as these who accompanied the Prophet at some point of his expeditions for jihad. Imam Zain al-Abidin, as has said, "Of us one will be born whose delivery will stay secret so plenty so that the humans will say that he used to be now not born at all." Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, as is quoted by using Kulaini in al-Kafi, 9 imams after Hussein are destined, the closing of them will be al-Qaim. Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, as is quoted in Alal al-Sharai saying, "The 5th of the descendants of my son Musa will be the Qaim, a descendant of the Prophet." Imam Musa ibn Jafar, as was once requested once, "Are the Qaim with the truth?" The Imam replied, "I additionally upward push truthfully. However, the actual Qaim is he who will dispose of the enemies of God from earth and will fill it with justice. He shall be my 5th descendant. His absence will be lengthy, all through which multitudes will flip away from the trust whilst solely a few will uphold it." Imam Ali al-Rida, as in the above pronouncing of Imam Hussein, as that due to the immoderate the size of the concealment of the 12th Imam many believers will have doubts about his existence. Many will query the very sturdiness of his lifestyles and the usefulness of his presence as an Imam. Rida said, "O Dabil, my son Muhammad, as will come when I am gone. After him, his terrific grandson will be named Muhammad, as who will be the Qaim. He will be awaited all through his absence. When he appears, the world shall bow down. Earlier than him, Imam Muhammad Taqi, as has stated, the Qaim will be from amongst us, the 1/3 of my descendants." Imam Ali Naqi, as said, "My successor will be my son Hassan. However, what will be your circumstance at some stage in the reign of Hassan's successor?" Those who have been existing asked, "Why? What do you imply through that?" Imam replied, "You will now not have the danger to see him. Later you will no longer be allowed to point out his name." Then the Imam used to be requested as to how they ought to point out him. Imam replied, "You can also say that he is the closing of Muhammad's infallible descendants." Some human beings requested Imam Hassan al-Askari, as your forefathers have stated that the earth would in no way be barring understanding the signal of Allah, Hujjatullah, until doomsday, and he who dies barring understanding the Imam of his time will die the loss of life of ignorance. Imam replied, "That was once as authentic as the shining day." They inquired as to who would be the Imam who would be the signal of the mercy of God after his death. Imam replied, "He will be my son, the namesake of the Holy Prophet, Muhammad Abul Qasim. He who died besides understanding him will die the loss of life of ignorance. His absence will be so prolonged that the ignorant will wander, puzzled and would sincerely stray from the right path. But the righteous shall continue to be steadfast and pray for their Imam to show up inside their existence time." All these predictions have been recorded on the grounds that the time of the Holy Prophet who himself prophesied the introduction of the Mahdi. Read this hadith in the story of the 5th Imam. As in the above pronouncing of Imam Hussein as that due to the immoderate size of the concealment of the 12th Imam, many believers will have doubts about his existence. Many will query the very sturdiness of his lifestyles and the usefulness of his presence as an Imam. To the query of existence, we have considered above the many verses from the Quran and hadith of the Prophet and all the 11 Imams. We have additionally studied quotations from the books of al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah and many students and philosophers from the earliest instances to the present. As some distance is the sturdiness of his life, in Quranic phrases it is now not tough to explain. Prophet Jesus is alive and will come out with the 12th Imam. Prophet Sheath and Prophet Kid are nonetheless alive in accordance to the verdict of the Quran. If God maintains his guided ones alive for a positive reason, there ought to no longer be any doubt. As for the usefulness of his hid existence, there are severer events when the Imam miraculously helped these who referred to as him for help. During the length of Gaybat-e-Sukra, the length of lesser concealment, from the time of the loss of life of his father Imam Hassan al-Askari, as, in the year 260 Hijri, our 12th Imam used to be considered solely by means of a few humans who had been appointed his ambassadors, Safer, on his behalf to bring his teachings to the believers. These 4 ambassadors have been as follows. 1. Abu Amr Uthman ibn Sa'id al-Asadi. He was once a deputy of 10th Imam, Ali Naqi, as, and after his death, of the 11th Imam Hassan al-Askari, as, and after his death, of our 12th Imam. Having carried out these obligations of conveying the messages from the Imam to the believers and the teachings of Ahlul Bayt, he died in Baghdad and was once buried there. 2. Abu Jafar Muhammad ibn Othman al-Amri, the son of the first ambassador, used to be appointed the second Safer of our 12th Imam. He died in 305 Hijri, 917 AD. 3. Abul Qasim Hussein ibn Rao Nawbakti was once appointed the Imam's third Safer. He was once a pinnacle-ranking pupil and faqih for his information of all Islamic sciences. He was once additionally a very pious man. Under the instructions of the 12th Imam, his third Safer Hussein ibn Rao carried out his responsibilities as Safer for the subsequent 15 years. He died in the year 320 Hijri. 4. Abul Hasan Ali ibn Muhammad al-Samari. He was once the remaining Safer of the 12th Imam, succeeding Hussein ibn Rao as directed with the aid of the Imam. He carried out his obligations for 9 years, and died on the 15th Shaban 329 Hijri, May 15, 941 AD. Having been asked on his deathbed as to who would prevail him, he replied, "Providence now desires to supply the rely some other form, the period of which is regarded to God alone." After Abul Hasan there was once no Safer. In this sorrowful year, i.e. 329 Hijri, many pupils such as Ali ibn Babway Kami and Muhammad ibn Yaqub Kulaini, the realized compiler of al-Kafi, additionally died. Besides these events, and more, everyday phenomenon was once additionally witnessed. In the sky so many stars did shoot that it appeared as if doomsday had come. That year used to be named as the year of the dispersal of stars. After this, accompanied a darkish length due to the fact no sapphire used to be left to without delay strategy. The Imam al-Mahdi, as it is additionally associated that Imam himself instructed his closing safer that there will no longer be any extra appointments of safara. When requested what the believers would do, the Imam replied, "Follow the fuqaha of our deen, these who have expertise of Quran, who shield deen and would now not observe their personal desires. In answering these, who query the usefulness of the Imam in concealment, there are severer events referred to in books of many ulamas, such as Sheikh Muvid, d. 413 Hijri, al-Mahili, d. 726, Shahid Thalath Narullah, Shustri, d.1019. They have stated in their personal length as to how the 12th Imam used to be approached and gave help. All these memories are stated in their very own books. Here in this book I would like to point out two such occurrences that befell to these who have informed their experiences to me personally. Both of them are now useless and it is essential for me to inform these happenings earlier than my very own death. I lived in Najaf in the 50s and throughout my continue to be there. I used to go to Karbala almost each week. In the city of Karbala, there was once a dispensary run by means of the Pakistan government. The pharmacist there used to be one Mr. Rizvi, who no longer solely dispensed medicinal drug to the terrible of Karbala, however, additionally regarded after the sufferers and once in a while even prescribed medication for them. There was once no certified health practitioner to attend to the patient. Mr. Rizvi used to go to Baghdad on Friday to get shares from the hospital there. On one such event when he was once coming again with the aid of minibus, the bus driver stopped at Memudia, half of way Karbala. It was once late in the evening. The bus driver informed the passengers that there used to be something incorrect with the bus engine and he should now not proceed till subsequent morning. The passengers would have to furnish for their personal board and lodging themselves for the night. Mr. Rizvi used to be very upset. He had a field load of medicinal drug with him and if he would now not be in Karbala the subsequent morning, his sufferers would be disenchanted and some of them would possibly have to go barring any medicine. He was once standing through the roadside in this little city Memudia, some 40 miles from Karbala. Night was once getting darker. People have been sitting in darkish espresso homes ingesting espresso or taking part in card video games etc. As time surpassed, his issues increased. He realized that if he does now not pass from there soon, some kids would possibly come and vandalize his items and shares of medicine. So he prayed to God and the phrases uttered have been, Ya Sahibaz Zaman Udrikni, O Imam of the time, assist me. Moments later, he noticed a jeep vehicle stopped proper there the place he was once standing and a very desirable searching younger Arab gentleman obtained out of the jeep and advised him, "Do you prefer to go to Karbala?" He was once astonished at this assist and stated, "Yes. Of path I choose to go to Karbala." He said, "Put your container in the auto and sit down beside me." The man drove the auto and arrived in Karbala an hour later. Without asking him the tackle of his vacation spot, he took him straight to the door of the dispensary and stopped. Mr. Rizvi obtained down, introduced his field of remedy down and began to seem to be for some cash in his pocket to provide something to the driver of the jeep. When he became to seem to be for him, there used to be nothing there. There was once no jeep car, no man, nothing. The street used to be absolutely empty. He bowed down on the dirt of Karbala to thank God for sending the assist via the Imam of the time. He informed me this story for my part, and he had no doubt in his thinking that the assist got here from the 12th Imam. From that time onward his devotion toward assisting the human beings of Karbala had multiplied 100-fold. He died some years later, whilst nonetheless supporting his sufferers in that little dispensary in Karbala. My second story used to be from the lips of an Englishman, Colonel Abdul. During the Second World War he used to be stationed at the Royal Air Force Base at Habaniya, a city some 22 miles south of Baghdad. During the peak of the struggle there was once some scare in Britain that Hitler would possibly invade Iraq to grasp oil fields. It was once 1942 that the commander of the base determined to evacuate households of the humans dwelling at the base. Colonel Baines used to be given the undertaking of main the caravan of jeep vehicles full of girls and young people from Baghdad to Damascus. They had to ignore via the desert, the place there was once no street, and they had to discover their way by means of searching at the stars as captains of the ships sail in the sea and locate their way to their destination. Colonel Baines was once a Christian, however he was once nicely versed in Islamic records and specifically the records regarding the lives of the imams. He had examined many books about the 12th Imam and was once nicely conscious of the memories of these trustworthy who agree with who get hold of assist from the Imam in their distress. They name the Imam and assist comes to them. All the ladies and kids with Colonel Baines have been all Christians and now not Muslims. Half-way via their trip of this caravan of 5 jeeps through the desert, they misplaced their way in a desolate tract storm. They have been hopelessly lost, going spherical and spherical in the desert, no longer understanding the place to go and how to discover their way to Damascus. They determined to camp there, made a circle of jeep vehicles, and all vacationers sat down on the floor to wait for a miracle to get them out of that countless desert. They did no longer comprehend what to do. One day and one night time exceeded like that, and when the subsequent days solar got here scorching, all of them have been in despair. Water shares had long gone and thirsty teens started out to demand for water. Colonel Baines did now not be aware of what to do. Then he remembered that he study some place that if you are in such distress, name the Imam of the time for help. He put up his arms in the form of prayer, closed his eyes and requested in his coronary heart for the Imam to help. He said, "We are all Christians and we might also be sinners, however these young people with me are harmless. They do no longer deserve to die in this manner. O Imam of the time, assist them get out of this desert." His prayers had now not even ended when he noticed that 2 horsemen have been coming proper through the eye of the storm. They got here close to the circle of jeep cars, approached Colonel Baines, and asked, "Do you all desire to go to Damascus?" He stated, "Yes, of course." They said, "Follow us." The jeeps lined up and accompanied the horsemen. They had long passed a few miles till the way grew to be clear for them. Their coursers instructed them to go straight to the west and they will attain Damascus. In a few days they all reached Damascus and safety. Colonel Baines realized that his prayers to the 12th Imam had been heard and assist arrived from the Imam. Once the fighting was once over, Colonel Baines embraced Islam, modified his title to Abdullah Baines, and after his retirement from the army, settled in Kent. He has himself instructed me his story earlier than his demise in 1965. He additionally advised me to publicize this as a good deal is feasible, for this is the reality, and human beings must no longer chorus from telling the truth. There are severer experiences of this form of assist given via the Imam to humans in misery who name him for help. Ayatollah al-Jazari advised us two such testimonies of his personal experiences in Iran when assist got here from the Imam to people. Although absent and unrepresented, Imam al-Mahdi has nevertheless publications humans and defends the faith. Even though unseen, the Imam supervises the world affairs and courses it. This curtain will exist as lengthy as Providence deems it necessary. The time will come, which might also be too late for many of us, however, when the curtain of absence will be removed, Imam al-Mahdi, as will reappear, and as estimated by using the Prophet, fill the world with justice and equity, discarding the prevailing injustices and oppressions. May God deliver about his early reappearance and ease his coming. Walhamda lillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulhul kareem.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share and subscribe. Like it.